Welcome back, football fam. We're about to drop y'all with our top 15 QB ranking right off the bat, guys. First thing you need to know, this is not a quarterback pro evaluation. This is a ranking of our top 15 quarterbacks based on the system they run and what they're asked to do. I will highlight some strengths and weaknesses of each player. So please comment, criticize, praise, and tell us who got left off, who's too high, and who's too low. So keep in the comment section down below. Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 15, we got Darian Mensah, quarterback of Duke Blue Devils. On the season, he has 3,182 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions with a QBR of 75.5. That's good enough for 21st in the nation. His best games this season was one against Georgia Tech, where he lost. He was 32 of 44, 373 yards and 2 touchdowns. His team lost 27-18 against Illinois. He had another solid game, 23 of 34, 334 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. They also lost that game, 45-19. In the game against Tulane, his former team, he is a Tulane transfer. He went 39 for 51, 30 for 51, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns in that game. And he lost that one. But he did have one game when he got the victory against the team. He actually was 27 for 41 against Clemson. He went for 361 and 4 touchdowns. Now, finally, that dude, his team losing the games is really not on him. But let's just talk about some strengths and weaknesses he had. I think his main strength is his QB IQ, football IQ. He has quick reactions and attacks the middle of the field real well. He actually has a clutch gene. He just get the players around him, and his mobility and his backfield creation. He doesn't look to run. He kind of looks to extend time in the pocket, and I think that's a real good strength of his. He has nice touch on his passes. Some of his weaknesses, though, it's gonna be his ball security, and it's like his slim physical build might be an issue moving forward as far as durability can be concerned, but mainly it's the fumbling. They got to get it under control. Coming in at number 14, we got Georgia Bulldog quarterback Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton has 3,465 yards on the season, 19 touchdowns for 4 interceptions, with a QBR 89.5, good enough for 3rd in the nation. He also has 361 rushing yards with 8 rushing touchdowns. His best games of the season had one against Tennessee early in the year. They won in overtime, 44-41. He went 23 for 31, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 carries, 38 yards and a touchdown. And another game, the big win over Ole Miss. They won 45-35. He was 26 of 31, 289 with 4 touchdowns and 10 carries, 59 yards and touchdowns. His biggest strength also is that clutch gene and his rushing ability. He will tuck and bulldoze people over if he have to. Some of his weaknesses, he could be a system QB. He relies a lot on the RPO and screen passes. Maybe they explore more stuff with him next year if he doesn't go in the draft. I don't think he will. I think he's coming back. But it just looks like he's just mainly an RPO screen type of guy. And that's really it for him. Coming in at number 13, we have Diego Pavia, senior quarterback from Vanderbilt. Possibly a senior. Could be getting more eligibility. More on that later. He has 2,924 yards, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, with a QBR 86.9. That's good enough for 5th in the nation. And add on to 661 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. He is a true dual threat quarterback. A lot of ability, Heisman finalist. Let's look at some of his best games. He had a game early in the year against Texas where he went where they lost 34-31. He was 27 for 38, 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 14 carries for 43 yards and a touchdown in that game. Another great game he had was against Auburn. They won that one in overtime, 45-38. He was 25 for 33, 377 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 18 carries for 112 yards and a touchdown in that game. Probably my favorite game for him this year. And another good game we just recently had against Kentucky. They were 45-17. They won 45-17. He was 33 of 39, 484 yards, 5 touchdowns and an interception. He had 15 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown in that game. Some of his strengths is going to be his leadership and his character and his resilience. I think they're all strong. Yeah, he has great leadership skills on the field in the locker room. Shows great character. Talking to media and the resilience on the field is something you just can't ignore. The man's awesome. Gotta give him his credit. Some of his weaknesses, though, is his size. He's 6 foot on a good day, 205 pounds. That's something he got to look at moving on to the next level. Something he had to deal with. He had to compensate for that in the NFL. I think he can. I think he should latch on to a team and just be in the league for a little while. Y'all let me know what y'all think on that. I think a nice comparison for Diego Pavia, and some of you might like this, some of you might hate it, but I think a really good comp would be a much better, and I mean much better, version of Tim Tebow. Coming in at number 12, we have quarterback Josh Hoover from TCU. He has 3,166 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He has a QBR of 71.7, good enough for 31st in the nation. His best games came earlier in the season. One against SMU when they won 35-24. Josh went 22 for 40, 379 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had Chris McAllister for 3 touchdowns in the game, who also went over 200 yards. Then they had a game against Houston most recently where they won 17-10, and Josh really just took care of the football and managed that game. He went 24 for 33 for 293 yards and 2 touchdowns. His biggest strengths is his off-platform throws, his ability to throw wide receivers open, and processing speed. I think those all translate well to NFL. He should be a very solid NFL quarterback. This is not a pro evaluation, so I guess I need to stop saying that. But yeah, that's how good he is to me. His weaknesses, though, he's listed at 6'2", 200 pounds. Most don't believe it, though. His decision making is something he has to improve on. He will put the ball in harm's way. He's kind of like a gunslinger, and his arm strength may not be up to par with some of the other quarterbacks in the nation. Taking a break away from the list, I want to talk about some of the freshman quarterbacks in the country. I decided not to rank these guys just to give some other guys a chance to get on the list. But I think these guys deserve to be talked about. Drew Mastermaker out of North Texas, one of the best passers in the country, true freshman. After doing things for North Texas, I would be surprised if he still plays for them next year. I think he's going to end up at a big-time program. Betting favorite right now is Oklahoma State, but he could go a different route. Shout out to JKS out there at Cal, day one starter for them. Big-time guy. Polynesian. He's one that you should look at. Another name you want to look at on the list is, of course, Bear Buckmeyer. We talked about him enough. Future star in the league. He's going to be a guy that's going to make a lot of noise. Bryce Underwood. Future is now. He's stepping his game up. Passing's getting better. I think they need to run the ball more with him. Play to his strengths, but that's another quarterback you need to know. Juju Lewis and Mason Heisel. Heisel coming in for Pittsburgh, and they haven't looked back. He's, I think, 6-1 or 7-1 as a starter. And Juju Lewis, they turned over the reins to him in Colorado. Look for big things for him next year. And just one that I may have forgot, I left off, Malik Washington out there in Maryland. Started off hot. Things kind of trailed off. Look for them to get things going again next year. And that's that. Back to the list, coming in at number 11, we got Rocco Beck of the Iowa State Cyclones. Beck has 2,471 yards on the season, 15 touchdowns for 9 interceptions. He has a QBR 66, good enough for 50th in the nation. His best games came against Cincinnati, where he went 30 for 48, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns. They lost that game 38-30. And another game against BYU, where he went 24 for 36, 311 yards, 1 touchdown. They lost 41-27. Now, Rocco Beck's biggest issue is lack of talent around him. That's a different conversation for a different day. His strengths, he reminds me a lot of Brock Purdy. He has very good arm talent. I think that's his biggest strength. His weaknesses is he will turn the ball over. He's over-aggressive with his passes. And his physical size, he's only listed at 6'1", 210 pounds. Coming in at number 10, we have Carson Beck out of Miami. For the season, he has 2,805 yards, 22 touchdowns for 9 interceptions with a QBR of 80.9, good enough for 12th in the nation. His best games this season Came against South Florida earlier in the year. He was 23 or 28 for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Against NC State, he was 21 for 27, 291 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And against Virginia Tech, most recently, he was 27 to 32, 320 yards, and 4 touchdowns. His strengths are his pocket presence, his processing speed, and mainly his game management. He's a guy. Those are 3 things you want your quarterback to have. He processes things quick, and he's good awareness in the pocket. And like I said, his game management. His weaknesses are his effectiveness under pressure. If you can get pressure on him, he will make mistakes. His agility is not that great, and his deep ball mechanics get a little shaky when the pressure's on. Coming in at number 9, we have Arch Manning, Texas Longhorns quarterback. I know what y'all thinking. Why is he on this list? He on it because his last name. That's not true. The man's pretty good. On the season, he has 2,763 yards, 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a QBR 67.3, good enough for 46 in the nation. His best games this season came on the second half of the season when things really got rolling for Texas. Against Mississippi State, he was 29 for 40, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Then he went up against Vandy. He was 25 for 35, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns. Then they had a game against Arkansas just recently, 18 to 30, 389 yards and 4 touchdowns. Arch Manning has been one of the best quarterbacks in the nation in the second half of the season. You got to give him credit for that. Some of his strengths include his physical tools, height, weight, speed category. He kind of covers it all. He has great mobility. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation when it comes to play action. He showed really good leadership in the second half of this season, bouncing back from the shaky start. Some of his weaknesses, his poise under pressure, and and on top of that, his mental pressure. I think there's more to it than anything. That the pressure of being a man and probably got to him early in the season, and he has questionable decision makings. But other than that, it's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He got a good game against Texas coming up this weekend. Might be playing it Friday, so interested to see how that go out. I would not be surprised if Texas won that game. Coming in at number 8, we have Marcel Reed, Texas A&M. On the season, Marcel Reed has 2,752 yards, 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions with a QBR 79.2, good enough for 14th in the nation. He also has 395 rushing yards with 6 touchdowns. His best games this season, he had a notable game against Notre Dame where he went 17 for 32, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Against South Carolina, he went 22 for 39, 439 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And most recently against LSU, he was 12 for 21, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, where he also had 13 rushes, 408 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game. His strengths include his ability to throw from any angle. He has impressive arm talent, nothing to be sneezed at, and also his rushing ability. If he has a negative to his game, it's probably his physical frame. He's a slim-built guy, so that could pose an issue moving forward. Let's take a quick pause before we jump back into our list and our top 7. Let's talk about the quarterbacks who were not ranked due to injury. That'll be Bo Perbella, Sam Levitt, Steve Angeli, Miller Moss, and Dylan Raiola. These are all good quarterbacks, but I didn't want to rank them due to the injuries. And just looking at some of the guys on the list, Steve Angeli, just look how Syracuse looked with him. Then look how Syracuse looked without him. Syracuse probably one of the worst teams in the nation offensively without this guy, but was one of the most explosive teams in the country before he left with an injury. So he deserves recognition. Same thing with Dylan Raiola with Nebraska. They have not looked like the same team without him. And now there's rumors about Nebraska possibly having to find another quarterback if Dylan Raiola hits the portal. That was the word 2 days ago. No end to that yet. So he could be looking at the portal. He could be looking at another destination. So it's one to follow. Anyway, jumping right back into it, here we are with number 7, C.J. Carr, the freshman quarterback out of Notre Dame. He has 2,536 yards, 22 touchdowns with 6 interceptions, and a QBR 81.7, good enough for 10th in the nation. His best games this year, one was in a loss against Arkansas where he went 22 for 30, 354 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he had another game against NC State where it was 19 for 31, 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Some strengths of C.J. Carr's is his arm strength and his accuracy. and just his development. He has so many tools that are developed. He's going to be a great quarterback. As much as I hate Notre Dame, this guy's a baller. His weaknesses is his limited experience, his consistency, and his decision making. All things that can be improved upon moving forward. Keeping it rolling at number 6, we got Dante Moore, quarterback out of Oregon for the season. He has 2,447 yards, 23 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. He has a QBR of 75, which is good enough for 24th in the nation. His best games this year came against one against Oregon State, 21 for 31, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns. Another notable game was Minnesota when we went 27 for 30, 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. And most recently against USC, 22 of 30, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. Some of his strengths is his arm talent. I think he can throw from just about any angle. His mobility and athleticism in the pocket, his leadership, and just his demeanor, man. He's a real cool, calm, collected guy, and I like that about him. Some of his weaknesses is probably his starting experience, limited experience. Processing speed is kind of slow. He needs to make his reads faster, but that's something that can improve in time. Going to be a good quarterback. Taking another quick pause before we jump into the top 5. Let's talk about the top senior quarterbacks that did not rank in the top 15. We're talking about Preston Stone, Jalen Daniels, Byron Brown, Joey Aguilar, Luke Altmaier, Cade Klubnik, Brendan Morton, and even Brendan Lewis from Memphis. I left him off the list, so throw him in. Not going to talk about all these guys, but touch on some of them. Preston Stone, how will he be looked at the next level with his injuries and stuff like that, and how he looked this second half of the season. He looked really good, so I think his draft stock's going up. He might be a guy to get some looks. Jalen Daniels, is he a quarterback? Is he a running back? 6 foot, 220 pounds. He does have 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the season, 21 passing touchdowns. Not even counting his rushing touchdowns. So he should be a guy that should get a chance at quarterback. And Brendan Morton, a guy who stayed loyal to Texas Tech, stayed there the whole time, finishing out his career, and they better be in the college football playoff, possibly win a Big 12 championship, and make a run to CFP, man. So shout out to these guys, and I wish them guys best of luck at the next level. Jumping back into it, here we are with the top 5. We're going to kick it off with Jaden Maiava, quarterback from USC. He has 3,174 yards, 21 touchdowns to 8 interceptions with a QBR of 91.4. That's good enough for what? First in the nation. His best games this year, he went 30 for 43 for 364 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception against Illinois. They lost that game 34-32. Another big game he had was against Michigan. He was 25 for 32, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And probably one of his best games this year to me was against Northwestern, where he went 24 for 33, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. His strengths got to be his playmaking ability out of structure. When things break down, he makes things happen. He has a quick release, and he has great arm talent. Some of his weaknesses would be his mobility. He can scramble. He can move. He does move when things break down, but he's just not real fluent with it. He will run, just not very effective with it either. His efficiency and consistency has come into question, but I don't think they can say anything about that this year. He's probably been one of the best quarterbacks, bar none. You can't even debate it. Moving on to number 4. I've been pretty vocal about this guy all year. We talking about Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. He has 2,641 yards passing on the season, 30 touchdowns to 5 interceptions with a QBR 88.8. Good enough for 4th in the nation. His best games, one was against Illinois, where he went 21 for 23, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had a game against Michigan State where he went 24 for 28, 332 yards, 4 touchdowns. And he had a game against Wisconsin, 22 for 24, 299 yards, 4 touchdowns. With Mendoza, some of his strengths include his physical build, 6'5", 222 pounds, quick release, his accuracy, and can win games from the pocket. That's a big deal. So this is a guy you can just design plays for. He can make them. You don't have to do any rollouts or anything special. You got to get cute with it. He can just really win it from the pocket if the pocket's clean. Some of his weaknesses, his arm strength, man. His arm strength not as good as some of the other quarterbacks on his list that's ranked above him and below him, honestly. And he needs everything to go right for him to be productive. Indiana. That's what's happened this year. I saw enough of him at Cal to know that if things don't go according to plan, you are in trouble when it comes to Fernando Mendoza. But I would not knock him for that this year because he's playing at Cal and they've been outstanding. So I'm liking them in the college football playoffs. I think they're going to go deep. So I'm not going to knock them right now. So shout out to him. Taking another quick pause before we go into the top three. Let's talk about the best quarterbacks nobody talk about. And Joey Fagnano of UConn is one of them. As a recording on Thanksgiving, he still hasn't thrown an interception. We're talking C.J. Bailey out there at NC State, 6'6", 200+ pounds, has all the tools he got, arm strength, has a lot of moxie, could hit the portal. Kevin Jennings out there at SMU only stepped in as the starter last year and won the ACC and has a chance to get into the ACC championship game again this year. And then Jake Redsliff from Tulane, the transfer coming in making big things, really hasn't slowed down since Darian Mensah left. So shout out to these guys. Should be big things popping for these guys next year. Jumping back into the list, here we are with our top three. Coming in at number 3, we got Haynes King, quarterback, Georgia Tech. On the season, he has 2,516 yards, 12 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He has a QBR of 78.8. Good enough for 15th in the nation. He also has 883 rushing yards with 15 touchdowns. This man has had all kind of great games. He is my Heisman favorite. I know he won't win it, but he's the guy I was picking. His best games, starting off with Colorado at the beginning of the year, 13 for 20, 143 yards, an interception. He had 14 carries. No, he had 19 carries, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Against Clemson, we was 24 for 28, 211 yards. He had 25 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Wake Forest, 22 for 42, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 21 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Multiple 100-yard rushing games, y'all. Against Duke, 14 for 21, 205 yards. He had 14 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. That's 4 100-yard rushing games. Against Syracuse, he was 25 for 31, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 carries, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And finally, against NC State, 25 for 35, 408 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had 20 carries for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. The man was outstanding all year long. He had a team in the heart of the playoff hunt to kind of collapse toward the end of the year. But some of his strengths, his dual threat ability, his toughness, and his efficiency and his decision-making, all things you got to look at with him. If there's some cause for concern, it'll probably be his durability, maybe his arm strength. Might not be up to par. Sometimes it looks a little like he can lacking some touch or some power or something. But it might be his throwing motion that's really doing it, because his throwing motion is a little off. So that could be fixed with that. But that's Haynes King, man, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He's a senior. Hoping he's got the best of luck at the next level. Coming in at number 2, our runner-up, Julian Sand out of Ohio State. He has 2,832 yards, 27 touchdowns for 4 interceptions. He has a QBR of 90.3. That's good enough for 2nd in the nation. His best games this year, he had one against Minnesota where he's 23 of 27, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had another one against Wisconsin, the growing theme on his list, 36 for 42, 393 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then he had another good game against Penn State, where he's 20 for 23, 316 yards, 4 touchdowns. Has Ohio State number 1 in the nation heading to the college football playoffs, going into the weekend against Michigan State in the big game at the Shoe. Can't wait to see the outcome of that. His strength, man, he's a top-tier quarterback. He has elite accuracy. Deep ball accuracy is off the chart. High football IQ. No real weaknesses in the guy. The only weakness I can give him is lack of experience. But you playing on Ohio State, so you getting experience there. You getting everybody's best shot every week. And this guy, man, he's going to be dynamite in the NFL. He's going to be one that y'all want to keep your eye on. He will be back at Ohio State next year. Can't wait to see how he grows from this year and going into the next. Okay, last break into action, guys, because I know the video is getting long. But here's our honorable mention, the quarterbacks who didn't make the list. I'm not going to talk about all of them. Just going to talk about some of the names on the list. Starting off with Trinidad Chambliss, a guy who started the season splitting time with Austin Simmons. But with Austin Simmons' injury, Trinidad stepped in as a full-time starter and just took over in that role. Had himself a great season. Has Ole Miss ranked in the, I think they're 6th or 7th in the CFP right now. Another guy on this list you want to look about, Sawyer Robinson, Baylor. Not the most competitive team when it comes to winning big-time games, but Sawyer is a guy who makes a lot of big-time throws, doesn't let his limitations slow him down. He's probably one of the best passing quarterbacks, pure passing quarterbacks in the country. Always tops in the nation last year and this year. Probably pushing close to another 4,000-yard season. I got to check. Another name, Avery Johnson. Man, doing things at Arizona State, just getting it done. Hopefully he doesn't transfer or go pro. Hopefully he comes back to improve his draft stock. And lastly, just going to skip over a couple names. Lastly, John Mateer, a guy who was lighting it up early in the year. Runaway Heisman favorite until the injury to his hand kind of slowed him down. He was probably leaning toward going to the draft. Not so much now. So we have to see what happens with him. But these are the guys who just missed out on the list. These were the next guys out. Just look at them again before I take them off. And let's head on to number 1. Here we are, guys, with our number 1 quarterback. I'm sure some of you guys already guessed it, but it's Ty Simpson out of Alabama. He has 2,936 yards, 22 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He has a QBR 79.6, good enough for 13th in the nation. His best games, one was against Wisconsin, 24 for 29, 382 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a game against Vanderbilt. When Vanderbilt was ranked 16th, he was 23 for 31, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And against Oklahoma, when they were in the top 10, he was 28 for 42, 326 yards, a touchdown and interception. His strengths, his pre- and post-snap read recognition, that's something he has to get some credit for. His ability to attack the middle of the field, his poise and leadership, his mobility, athleticism. He has pretty much everything you need. His weaknesses, if there is an issue, is his ball security. He has an issue with fumbles from time to time. And his tendency to lose the ball in the pocket. His deep ball accuracy can get a little shaky late in games. But other than that, man, we're talking about a perfect quarterback prospect. Don't know if he's going to go pro or not. If he does, he's a surefire first-round pick. But it's not what this. I promise this is not what this video is about. Just ranking the quarterbacks. So there you have it, guys. This is our number 1 guy, Ty Simpson. Edging out Julian Sand. I mean, by that, slim as a margins, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think about that. Who you guys think the best quarterback in the country is? Is it Ty Simpson? Is it Julian Sand? Is it somebody else? Y'all let me know down in the comment section. I want to thank y'all for all the love and support and subscribing. Y'all have a lovely Thanksgiving. We out.